"You're just a nurse, David, I deserve better." I stared at my wife, realizing I'd been sleeping next to a stranger, so I exposed her affair and took everything she tried to steal. "Okay, Reddit, I need to vent because I'm going insane here. My wife Sarah, 34F, and I, 32M, have been together 8 years, married 5. Until 18 months ago, we were solid, happy, not rich, but we had our thing. Sarah worked at this marketing firm, decent pay but nothing crazy. I'm a nurse at the hospital, good steady work, helps people, all that. We'd hit up thrift stores on weekends, find weird vintage stuff, laugh about it over cheap takeout. Simple life, real life. Then boom, Sarah gets promoted to regional director. Her salary basically triples overnight. I was pumped for her, honestly. Bragged to everyone about my brilliant wife finally getting recognized. Thought maybe we could finally do that Europe trip we'd been talking about forever. Boy, was I wrong. 3 months in, Sarah's shopping at Nordstrom, designer bags, expensive dinners every week, brand new BMW in our driveway. "I need to look the part," she says when I ask about our suddenly empty savings account. When I mention maybe setting a budget, she gets this look, like I just suggested we move back in with our parents. "I'm finally making real money, David. Don't you want me to enjoy it?" Here's the thing though, it's not about the money. It's how she looks at me now, like I'm some relic from her old life she's embarrassed about. She comes home from these work events talking about Jennifer's lawyer husband, Michael's entrepreneur buddy, how they all vacation in the Hamptons. Meanwhile, I suggest a camping weekend like we used to love, and she actually laughs. "We can afford better than that now, David." Better than what? Better than us? Last month we go to this fancy steakhouse downtown. Sarah orders a $200 bottle of wine without even glancing at me. When the check comes, I reach for my wallet, habit, right? She waves me off like I'm offering to pay with Monopoly money. "I've got it." The way she said it, like I was her broke nephew she was treating to dinner. I sat there watching her chat up the sommelier about wine regions I can't even pronounce, feeling about 2 inches tall. My buddy Tom thinks I'm just intimidated by her success. Maybe he's right. Maybe I should be thrilled she's doing so well. But this doesn't feel like success, it feels like she's becoming someone who thinks she's too good for the person she married. She works until 10 most nights now. Weekend calls constantly. When I suggest we hang out, it's always I have this networking thing or corporate event. I'm basically a roommate she's outgrown. We used to talk for hours about everything. Now it's just logistics, who's getting groceries, when bills are due. The breaking point, 2 weeks ago. Rough day at work, lost a patient I'd been caring for months. Came home needing my wife, just wanted to hold her, decompress, feel human again. Sarah's in bed with her laptop, video call with her team about some campaign. I wait 20 minutes for her to finish. Finally try to tell her about my day, about watching this man's family say goodbye. 30 seconds in, her phone buzzes, text from her boss Michael. She starts typing while I'm mid-sentence. "Can this wait?" Not even looking up. "Michael needs these numbers tonight." I walked out. Sat in my car for an hour, wondering when my wife stopped giving a damn about my worst days. When I came back, she was asleep, laptop still glowing beside her. That's when something clicked for me. I've been making excuses, trying to be the supportive husband while she turns into someone I don't recognize. But you know what? I'm done being treated like I'm not good enough for her new life. I've been doing some thinking since then. Some research, talking to people. Tom's brother is a lawyer, mentioned some interesting things about marital assets, about how promotions during marriage work legally. My colleague Maria went through a messy divorce last year, learned a lot about protecting yourself when things go south. Not saying I'm there yet. But I'm not the naive guy I was 2 weeks ago, sitting in that restaurant feeling small while my wife showed off her black credit card. I'm starting to see this situation differently. Starting to wonder what else might be going on that I've been too trusting to notice. Sarah thinks she's so much smarter now, so much more sophisticated. Maybe it's time she learned that underestimating people, especially the people who love you, isn't as smart as she thinks it is. I miss the woman I married. But if she's decided that woman doesn't exist anymore, if she's decided I'm not worth her time or respect, then maybe it's time I stopped pretending this is just a phase. Anyone else been through something like this? How did you handle it when your partner decided you weren't good enough anymore? Because I'm starting to think there might be more to this story than just a promotion changing her personality. Thanks for reading. Updates to follow, I'm sure. Update 1. Hey Reddit. It's been 2 weeks since my original post, and wow, you guys really opened my eyes. Hundreds of comments telling me to wake up, that this isn't just about money or success. Some of you were brutal, but you were right. I needed to hear it, so I decided to have that conversation I'd been avoiding, the real one about what's happening to us. Last Friday night, Sarah came home around 9:30 from another team dinner. I was waiting in the living room with 2 glasses of wine, the cheap stuff we used to drink together, not her fancy bottles. "We need to talk," I said. She looked annoyed already. "David, I'm exhausted. Can this wait until tomorrow?" "No, it can't." Something in my voice must have gotten through because she sat down. Didn't touch the wine though, just crossed her arms and waited. I started with what I'd written in my post. Told her I felt like strangers living in the same house, that I missed feeling like her partner instead of some guy she had to manage around her real priorities. I even mentioned how hurt I was about the night I lost my patient, how she chose work over comforting me. Expected her to get defensive, maybe apologize, say she'd been stressed with the new position. Instead, she got this look. Not guilty, impatient. "David, I don't know what you want from me. I'm finally successful. I'm making real money, building a career that matters. I thought you'd be proud." "I am proud, but you've changed, Sarah. You're not the same person I married." "Good," she said, just like that. "The person you married was settling, she was small. She shopped at Goodwill because she thought that's all she deserved. She dated a nurse because she didn't think she could do better." That hit like a punch to the gut. "You think you can do better than me?" She didn't answer right away. That pause told me everything. "I think I deserve someone who matches my ambition. Someone who understands the world I'm moving into." "What world is that exactly?" "A world where people don't get excited about camping trips and thrift store finds, where success is celebrated, not resented." This is where I brought up what had been eating at me since that steakhouse dinner. The way she dismissed me, paid for everything like I was some charity case. How she talks about her colleagues' successful husbands while making me feel like I don't measure up. "That's not celebrating success, Sarah. That's using it as a weapon against me." She rolled her eyes. Actually rolled her eyes. Then I asked about the late nights, the weekend calls, all the time she spends with her colleagues. Especially Michael, her boss, who seems to need her attention at all hours, the same Michael who interrupted my grief about losing a patient. Her face changed then, got guarded. "Michael is my supervisor. We work closely together. If you're implying something inappropriate." "I'm not implying anything. I'm asking directly. Are you having an affair?" "How dare you?" She stood up, pacing now. "Just because you can't handle my success doesn't mean you get to accuse me of cheating." But here's the thing, Reddit. She never actually said no. She got angry, she got defensive, but she never looked me in the eye and said, "No, David, I'm not having an affair." The conversation went downhill from there. She said I was holding her back, that I couldn't see past my own insecurities to be happy for her. I told her that success doesn't give you permission to treat people like garbage, especially your husband. "Maybe that's the problem," she said finally. "Maybe I don't need a husband who makes me feel guilty for wanting more. And maybe I don't need a wife who thinks I'm beneath her." She packed a bag that night. Said she was staying at her colleague Jennifer's place for a few days, that we both needed space to think. Been 4 days now. She's texted twice, once to ask about the mortgage payment, once to tell me she'd be by Sunday to get more clothes. But here's what's interesting. Remember how I mentioned Tom's brother is a lawyer, and my colleague Maria went through a divorce? Well, I've been taking their advice more seriously than I let on in my original post. I've been documenting things. Sarah's spending patterns, the joint account activity, her work schedule changes. Just keeping records, you know? And some patterns are starting to emerge that I was too trusting to see before. That $200 wine dinner wasn't the only expensive surprise. I pulled our credit card statements from the past 6 months. March 15th, $347 at Morton's Steakhouse. Problem: Sarah told me she was working late that night. I was covering a double shift, so I couldn't check. But Morton's. That's where she took me for our anniversary 2 years ago, said it was too expensive for regular dinners. April 3rd, $89 at Victoria's Secret. I never saw any new lingerie. Trust me, I would have noticed. April 22nd, $156 at some wine bar downtown called Meridian. Again, supposedly working late. I texted her that night asking when she'd be home. She replied at 11:47 p.m. "Just leaving office now. Exhausted." The wine bar closes at midnight. I checked. May 8th, this one really got me. $312 at the Marriott downtown, not for a room. I checked the charges. It was the restaurant there, Solaire. Dinner for two based on the amount. Sarah told me she was at a client presentation that day. Came home around 10, said it went great, they celebrated with the team after. Celebrated where exactly? But the real kicker, I found her old phone last weekend while she was getting her stuff. She upgraded to the new iPhone last month, left the old one in her nightstand drawer. Still had some charge, wasn't password protected yet. Her text history with Michael goes back months. Most of it's work stuff, but then you get to March, right around when her behavior really shifted. March 10th, Michael. Great presentation today. You looked incredible in that blue dress. March 12th, Sarah. Thanks for the wine recommendation. David doesn't really appreciate the finer things. March 18th, Michael. Dinner was amazing. Can't wait for the next client meeting. March 20th, Sarah. I keep thinking about what you said, about deserving better. I screenshot everything before the battery died. My hands were shaking the whole time. My colleague Maria came by yesterday with coffee and some reality checks from her divorce experience. Maria's this tough nurse, been through hell and back, doesn't sugarcoat anything. David, honey, you're being played, she said, scrolling through the screenshots on my phone. This isn't about her success. This is about her having an affair and using her promotion as cover. She helped me organize everything into a folder. Dates, amounts, locations. Document everything, she said. Screenshots, credit card statements, her work calendar if you can access it. Trust me, you'll need this later. Tom came over last night with pizza and beer. He's been my best friend since college, knows me better than anyone. Took one look at the evidence and got this expression I'd never seen before. Anger, but controlled. Dave, I've been trying to give her the benefit of the doubt, but this is black and white, he said, pointing at the phone screenshots. She's not just changing because of success, she's cheating and gaslighting you about it. He helped me set up a separate bank account yesterday. Protect yourself, man. This is going to get ugly. Sarah's sister Lisa called me yesterday too, and this conversation was different than I mentioned before. She actually brought up concerns first. David, I need to ask you something and please be honest, Lisa said. Is Sarah seeing someone else? My stomach dropped. Why would you ask that? She's been weird lately, secretive. Last week she was showing me photos from some work dinner and there was this guy in the background of every shot. Same guy. When I asked who he was, she got defensive, said it was just her boss. But David. The way she talks about him, it's not normal. Lisa's always been protective of our marriage. She was maid of honor at our wedding, calls Sarah out when she's being unreasonable. If Lisa's suspicious, there's definitely something there. She talks about Michael constantly, Lisa continued. Even when we're discussing family stuff, somehow the conversation turns to what Michael thinks about this or that, and she started dressing differently. More, I don't know how to say this nicely, more like she's trying to impress someone. I told Lisa about our fight, about Sarah staying at Jennifer's. Didn't mention the evidence yet, but I could hear the pieces clicking together in her head. I'm worried about her, Lisa said finally. But I'm more worried about you. This isn't the Sarah I know, something's really wrong here. The thing is, I'm not the naive guy I was 2 weeks ago, sitting in that restaurant feeling sorry for myself. I'm gathering information. I'm protecting myself. And I'm starting to see a pattern that goes way beyond just personality changes from a promotion. Sarah thinks she's so much smarter now, so sophisticated. She thinks I'm just some simple guy who can't keep up with her new lifestyle. She has no idea that I'm not just sitting here feeling sorry for myself anymore. She wants space to think. Fine, but she might not like what I'm thinking about while she's gone. More updates soon. This story is just getting started. Update 2, Reddit, I don't even know where to start. It's been 6 weeks since my last update, and everything has blown up in ways I never saw coming. You guys were right about documenting everything. That advice probably saved my life, legally speaking. Sarah came back after her few days of space at Jennifer's. Lasted exactly 1 week before she was packing bags again. But this time I was ready. The night she came home, she was different, confident in a way that felt almost aggressive. Walked into our house like she owned it and I was just renting space. Started rearranging things, immediately moved her expensive wine collection to the front of the kitchen cabinet, replaced our old coffee maker with some fancy espresso machine I'd never seen before. I did some thinking while I was away, she announced over dinner. Take-out sushi that cost more than we used to spend on groceries for a week. I've decided what I want. Okay, I said, trying to stay calm. What's that? I want to separate. Officially, I think we've grown in different directions and it's not fair to either of us to keep pretending this is working. The way she said it, so rehearsed, like she'd practiced this speech in the mirror. Just like that, 8 years together and you want to throw it away because you've grown. David, don't be dramatic. People change, I've changed, you haven't. That's not anyone's fault, it's just reality. But here's the thing, I'd been preparing for this conversation. Tom's brother Jake had coached me on what questions to ask, how to protect myself legally. So instead of getting emotional like she probably expected, I stayed calm. Okay, if that's what you want, we should probably discuss logistics, assets, the house, how we want to handle the separation. She looked surprised that I wasn't fighting her on it. I've already talked to a lawyer. I'll be fair about everything. Which lawyer? Someone Michael recommended, very reputable firm downtown. Michael, of course. That night after she went to bed early, probably texting, I did something I'm not proud of but don't regret. Her new phone was charging in the kitchen and she'd gotten careless about hiding it. The same passcode she'd used for years, our anniversary date. What I found made my hands shake. Hundreds of messages between her and Michael going back to February. Not just flirty work stuff anymore, explicit photos, plans for weekend getaways, and worse, conversations about me. February 28th, Michael. When are you going to tell him? March 2nd, Sarah. Soon. I just need to figure out the financial stuff first. Don't want to lose half of everything because I'm impatient. March 15th, Michael. My divorce attorney says timing is everything. Make sure you document his emotional instability. March 20th, Sarah. He's been so clingy lately, makes it easier to justify leaving. I screenshot everything. Every message, every photo, every plan they'd made. Took me 2 hours, but I got it all. The next morning, Sarah left for another business trip. 3 days in Chicago, supposedly meeting with clients. Except I'd learned a few things about investigating during our separation. Called the company's main line, asked to be transferred to Sarah's assistant. Oh, Sarah's not traveling this week, the assistant said cheerfully. She's been working from home the past few days. Can I take a message? Working from home? Right. I called Tom immediately. He came over with Jake and we went through everything together. The credit card statements, the text messages, the lies about her whereabouts. Jake's expression got grimmer with each piece of evidence. David, this is a slam-dunk adultery case, Jake said. She's not just cheating, she's planning to screw you financially while she does it. Look at this message about documenting your emotional instability. She's building a case to make you look like the bad guy. What do? We get ahead of this. File first, control the narrative, and we use all of this evidence to protect your assets. That's when Maria came over with information that changed everything. Remember how I mentioned she went through a messy divorce? Turns out Maria knows people. Specifically, she knows Jennifer, Sarah's colleague who supposedly hosted her during our separation. David, honey, you need to sit down for this, Maria said, pulling out her phone. I had drinks with Jennifer last night, asked her casually about Sarah staying over. My stomach dropped. What did she say? She said Sarah never stayed with her, not once. Jennifer was confused, said she hadn't seen Sarah outside of work in months. So where had Sarah been staying during our separation? The answer came in her credit card statements from that week. 4 nights at the Marriott downtown. The same hotel where she'd had that expensive dinner in May. But wait, it gets worse. I decided to drive by the Marriott Thursday evening just to see if her car was there. Found her BMW in the parking garage, but that's not what made me pull over and sit in my car for 20 minutes trying to process what I was seeing. It was the other car parked next to hers. Michael's silver Tesla, license plate MKTG1. I knew it was his because Sarah had pointed it out admiringly at the company holiday party last year. They weren't even trying to hide it anymore. I called Jake from the parking garage. He told me to document everything, photos of the cars, the parking garage timestamp, anything that proved they were there together. Then he said something that made my blood run cold. David, I need you to check your joint accounts. Tonight. If she's planning to leave and she's this brazen about the affair, she might be moving money around. I drove home and logged into our banking immediately. Our savings account, which had $47,006 weeks ago, now had $8,000. Our investment account was completely empty, $23,000 gone. She'd been systematically draining our accounts while pretending to want space to think. I called the bank's fraud line immediately. Reported the unauthorized transfers. The representative told me that technically, since Sarah was an account holder, the transfers weren't illegal, but they could freeze the remaining assets pending a legal review. Sir, I have to ask, are you going through a divorce? Getting there, I said. You need to contact a lawyer immediately. This pattern of asset movement right before a separation is something we see often. Jake filed an emergency motion Friday morning, froze all remaining joint assets, requested immediate temporary support, and submitted all our evidence of Sarah's affair and financial misconduct. Sarah came home Friday night to find divorce papers on the kitchen counter and her access to our joint accounts suspended. The screaming match that followed probably woke the neighbors. "You had no right to freeze those accounts," she shouted. "That's my money too. Money you were stealing while lying about staying at Jennifer's." Her face went white. "I don't know what you're talking about." I pulled out my phone, showed her the screenshots of her texts with Michael, the photos of their cars at the Marriott, the bank statements showing her transfers. She stared at the evidence for a long moment, then something shifted in her expression. The mask came off completely. "You went through my phone, you followed me, David, that's psychotic behavior. What psychotic is planning to screw over your husband while you're fucking your boss? Don't you dare talk to me like that, I'm not some trailer trash you can abuse." "Abuse? Sarah, I documented everything. I have proof of your affair, your lies, your theft. You want to play games? Let's play." She packed her bags that night. Real bags this time, not just a weekend trip. Before she left, she turned around in the doorway. "You have no idea who you're messing with, David. Michael has connections, real lawyers. You're going to regret this." "Maybe, but you're going to regret underestimating me." She slammed the door so hard it rattled the windows. That was 3 days ago. Since then, Jake says Michael's high-powered attorney has been scrambling to respond to our filings. Turns out having evidence of adultery and financial misconduct makes their job a lot harder. Tom's been staying over to make sure I'm okay. Maria brings dinner most nights. Even Lisa has been calling daily to check on me. "I'm proud of you," Lisa said yesterday. "I know this is destroying you, but you're handling it the right way." Sarah. "I don't know what happened to her, but this isn't the person we thought she was. The crazy part? I'm not destroyed. I'm angry, I'm hurt, but I'm not broken. Finding out the truth was almost a relief. All those months of feeling like I wasn't good enough, like I was holding her back, turns out she was just a cheating, lying thief who got caught. My lawyer says we should have this wrapped up in a few months. Sarah's going to get some assets, but nothing like what she was planning. Adultery and financial misconduct matter in our state, especially when it's this well documented. I start individual therapy next week. Not because I'm falling apart, but because I want to understand how I missed the signs for so long. How I let someone make me feel small when the problem was never me. Sarah wanted someone who matched her ambition. Turns out her ambition was to be a cheating, manipulative gold digger. I'm good on that match, thanks. Next update will probably be the last one. Court date is set for next month. Update 3. Hey Reddit. Final update here, and honestly I wasn't sure I'd ever get to write this one. It's been 3 months since my last post, 6 months since this whole nightmare started, and I finally have some closure to share. The court case ended 2 weeks ago, and yes, having all that evidence changed everything. Jake was right, adultery and financial misconduct carry weight here. Sarah's high-powered lawyer flopped hard. They accused me of abuse, privacy violations, and claimed her affair began post-separation. But timestamps, screenshots, and credit card statements told the truth. The judge wasn't amused, especially when Jake showed how Sarah secretly moved $6,220,000 from our joint accounts while claiming she was staying with Jennifer. That's called dissipation of marital assets, and courts take it seriously. She had to repay it all with penalties. I kept the house. My nursing salary paid the mortgage, while she got her BMW and 30% of remaining assets. Her lawyer likely cost more than that. And then came the twist, her affair collapsed before court. Michael was married too. His wife found out, filed for divorce, and took everything. Sarah called me weeks ago, sobbing. "David, I made a terrible mistake." She sounded broken. "Sarah, you stole money from our accounts while planning to divorce me. You called me psychotic for discovering your affair. What did you think would happen?" "I know, I screwed up everything." "But David, I lost my job. Michael's wife called my company about the affair. They said it created a hostile work environment. I'm unemployed, living in a studio apartment, and I have no one." Part of me wanted to feel vindicated, but mostly I just felt sad. sad for what we'd lost, for how completely she destroyed her life chasing something that was never real. I can't help you, Sarah. You made your choices. I know. I just wanted you to know that you were right about everything. You were a good husband and I threw it away for nothing. That was the last time we spoke. Lisa keeps me updated sometimes. Sarah's working at a smaller firm now, making half what she used to, had to sell the BMW to pay legal fees. Michael moved to another state after his divorce, cut all contact. She's in therapy, apparently. I hope therapy helps her. Not because I want her back, that ship sailed when she chose Michael over our marriage. But the woman I married was in there somewhere, and maybe she can find her way back to being someone she can live with. As for me, I'm doing better than I ever thought possible. Individual therapy has been incredible. Dr. Martinez helped me understand I'd been making myself smaller for years, trying to be the perfect supportive husband while ignoring red flags. David, she said during one session, you can't love someone into being a good person. You can only love them while they choose to be one. Sarah chose to stop being a good person. That wasn't my failure, it was hers. I've been dating someone new for 2 months, Rachel, a teacher at the elementary school near the hospital. We met when I volunteered at their health screening day. She's kind, funny, and when I told her about the divorce, she said, anyone who cheats on someone who saves lives for a living has serious problems. Rachel shops at thrift stores, loves camping, and values people over money. On bad days, she listens, really listens, without checking her phone. It's simple, but it feels revolutionary. We're taking it slow, but it already feels more genuine than my entire marriage ever did. I don't have to prove I'm worthy. She just enjoys being with me. The house feels like home again. I kept the old furniture Sarah hated and realized I liked our life before she decided it wasn't enough. Tom comes by for game nights, Maria and her kids join for Sunday dinners, and Lisa visits when she's in town. I'm not that confused, defeated guy anymore. I know my worth now. I was promoted to charge nurse last month. More pay, more respect, and it's amazing how much easier work feels when no one at home is tearing you down. To everyone who followed this story, thank you. Reading about others who'd been through similar situations helped me realize I wasn't crazy, wasn't overreacting, wasn't the problem. Special thanks to those who told me to document everything and protect myself legally. That advice literally saved my financial future.